is a neurodegenerative disorder that is progressive in nature and primarily affects lower motor neurons in the spinal cord, and therefore affects the muscles that they innervate. And so it can cause problems with things, everything from eating to breathing to walking, talking, and all of those various motor functions. Cure SMA is dedicated to the treatment and cure of SMA, and that's really kind of our foundational mission is treatments and cures for SMA. Cure SMA was founded in 1984, and since then we have directed and invested in comprehensive research that's really shaped the scientific community's understanding of SMA. And in addition to that comprehensive research program, we also provide extensive community support. And that's everything from newly diagnosed to support for older teens and adults who have been a part of our patient community for longer periods of time as well. Our funding comes from individual donors and from industry partners, and we're very grateful for all of their support. It's important to understand kind of the genetics 101 of SMA. So SMA is caused by homozygous deletion or mutations in the SMN1 gene. However, in humans, there exists an inverted and duplicated copy called SMN2. SMN2 can't fully compensate for the loss of SMN1 due to a nucleotide change that resides in exon 7. And because of that change, SMN2 is spliced differently and does not produce a fully functional SMN protein. But it's important to note that that protein is not toxic, and actually more copies of SMN2 are correlated with less severe disease. So having said that, Spinraza, which was approved back in December of 2016 for all ages and stages of SMA as an antisense oligonucleotide. So it functions to modulate splicing of the SMN2 gene to generate more fully functional SMN protein. Zolgensma, which was approved in May of 2019 for children less than 2 years of age, is a gene therapy. So it's an AAV vector gene therapy that serves to replace the missing SMN1 gene. And Evrysdi, which was approved in August of 2020 for individuals who are 2 months and older, is an RNA splicing modulator. So much like Spinraza, it functions to create a splice product, RNA product that includes exon 7 and thus results in more fully functional SMN protein. And it's an oral medication that's taken daily. We think of these 3 drugs as being SMN-dependent therapies, or drugs that rely on the presence of SMN1 or SMN2 to exert their function. Combination therapy can be defined in different ways in different contexts, but really for our purposes, we define it as 2 or more therapeutic agents. So generally drugs or biologics that work through the same or different mechanisms of action that are used concurrently. And so something to keep in mind there is this may encompass drugs such as gene replacement therapy that have continued biological effect, but are really a one-time dose. But that would also fall under this this category of simultaneous use as well. When we think about combination therapy, there could be combinations of existing SMN upregulating drugs, but we are more focused on the use of these SMN upregulating therapies in combination or in the background of a SMN independent therapy. So that would be a drug or a drug candidate that targets muscle or the neuromuscular junction, or functions independently of modulating SMN expression. There's a few trials looking at muscle drugs that are on the background of these one or more of these SMN upregulating therapies. And there's also new trials looking at combinations of these existing therapies. as well. Currently a candidate that there's a few things in the pipeline that work on myostatin, yes. I won't speak on behalf of the drug companies themselves. All of that information is publicly available, but we are really excited about these drugs that are coming through the pipeline, and as they continue to progress through later stage phases of their clinical development, and with promising results. And as we move ahead, we do anticipate that more therapies will be approved in the coming years. And I think this also kind of leads to an important point, which is that we need to continue to invest in basic research to continue to identify these important novel non-SMN targets to ensure that we continue to have this robust drug pipeline that we currently see. There are some great candidates, as you mentioned, that are up and coming through these later stages of clinical development, and that we hope will reach approval soon. But we really want to ensure that we are funding the next stage of those as well, and that that continues to ensure that we continue to have this robust pipeline to ensure effective therapies for all ages and stages of disease. There is potential there for application across various neurological and neurodegenerative diseases. And we have seen some of these companies apply their particular therapeutic strategy to multiple indications.